Xeno, have you been able to take a moment to look over the summary I wrote up for the recent court cases?
What? Yes, I have it. It all seems to be in order.
Excellent. I know you weren't here when I announced my new status as a judge on this server, but one thing that I was planning on doing to ensure fairness for trials is something that hasn't been done in the courthouse for quite some time, which is make sure that the court properly follows up on the verdicts that we reach for people. Um, just because there's been so many instances of people getting away with things they really shouldn't get away with.
Yeah, okay, I see. I agree with that.
First off, I think uh, we were both there. Solar was causing a whole ruckus throughout the entirety of the court session. It was she was like intimidating the prosecution. Uh and then when she was being put on trial for causing issues, she was just terrorizing the whole courtroom. Uh and that's and even though the people that brought her like that were prosecuting her were generally satisfied with the results, I believe that more justice is in order, especially for future trials, because we can't have somebody with that much power terrorizing the members of the court.
So do you propose like prison time, a fine maybe?
Possibly. The problem is with somebody as powerful as her, you can't really exactly, how do you imprison chaos? You can't exactly imprison chaos.
I mean, I believe you like if she does a lot, but that's just only in the most extreme occasion, then maybe Surachan will like step in and do something about it.
Hmm. I'm not sure if she would.
I mean, why not?
Well, that comes to the other thing that I want to discuss. It seems like you and I had a bit of a disagreement when it came to the things that Servichan was being accused of. It seems like it seems like you believe that she is free of wrongdoing, but
But like she is. How could she you know not be? Well, no. Yes, not be.
I don't think I've seen more of what she has done and is capable with. I mean, you heard it during this court case. She banished somebody to the Nether. It
And
seems
it was
like
probably deserving. I mean, if you do something to the point where like your punishment is banishment, then like I mean, who am I to like to question?
it's just she did it. She did it by herself. She didn't even seem to. She was talking about all these things that didn't make sense. Moro wasn't even here to defend himself on any charge involving, like, it seems like they were talking about chaos magic.
Ah, yes. I may not know much about it, but I mean, it clearly like got Surachan's attention over it. Must not be a good thing if like that's the result of it.
It's just, I've seen how most mortals tend to fare in the Nether, and it is, although it is where I prefer to live, I find it to be the most comfortable of areas to live in myself. As you can see, this whole courtroom is inspired by my home in the Nether. I don't. I've seen. I've invited people to live in directly in the castle or in the kingdom, and most people just struggle to even exist in the Nether, let alone live there permanently. As far as I know, Server-chan has basically sentenced him to a slow, painful death.
Then I mean, then that means that whatever he did must have been befitting of it. I mean, I don't know like what like the crime that was committed, but like I mean, if that was the punishment, I mean, I can only imagine just how grave such you know act was.
It's just, I find it hard to trust her after all that I have seen. I used to believe in her like you did. I used to worship her, but time after time, she got in the way of progress, of strength and power. The very She got in the way of my very ability to be able to even protect you. Speaking of, how many times have you died? Like, and she wasn't there to stop that from happening. She could have stopped it.
There's a lot of things that you know Sura-chan is like yes, Sura-chan may be a goddess, but she's not all encompassing of that. She could have done so much back during the war. She could have done so much during Herobrine's rise. She did what she could with the power that she has. There's only so much that she can meddle around in. The fact that I that the fact that like even if she hasn't stopped me from my death, that still doesn't change the fact that she has prevented me from those being permanent.
I suppose you're right about that. Still.
She's doing what she believes is the best for us, this world, and I agree with that. I don't see how that can go wrong. I've never seen it go wrong. I've seen too much of what the you know those followers of Herobrine believe, and I don't think that they're in the right at all with the way they want to like rule things.
Mm. I just wish that I wish I had more. If I had the power that she had back when I first met you, I think that I would be able to have prevented a lot of bad things that have happened. I've been too weak.
That may be so, but I don't really believe that the power that she has is something that people should be coveting.
Hmm.
It's we are greedy. That's just a fact of life. We can be greedy. We can be led astray. You know, it's just that's and as much as parish has bestowed upon me and anyone else who has you know been a devout follower, it's just not really. There's just a limit.
Hmm.
Okay, sometimes it can be too much. Sometimes people decide that they believe they should fly too close to the sun, and that's just not really something that should be done.
Hmm.
So whatever comes about of this chaos magic, whatever it may be, maybe she's right, and it's just that was just a fitting punishment. The way I see it. After all, it is in the name. It's chaos in magic. Like sure, you know, sometimes things are unpredictable, but like I mean, at that point, just I can only assume that you're trying to harness something that's not really well understood, or it can go in unpredictable ways and cause a lot more harm than what you originally intended, or if whoever's messing with it actually does understand what you know all its limits and what it can't do. Maybe it's just not actually a good power to have. And then again, maybe Server-chan was right in like punishing the person that, that she did.
Hmm. I have trouble being able to blindly trust and follow anything that she says. I have trouble blindly following whatever anyone says, not after all that's happened.
And why is that? I mean, like, sure, like, I understand the whole blindly following, but you do have to understand that she's doing this for like the best. Maybe not in the way that you see it, but I see it.
It's if it is for the best, she has not made that clear enough. If it is for the best that Moro is trapped in the Nether, then why even bother to offer a way to get him out?
Because people are willing to do things, even throw themselves into fire, if it means saving somebody they care about.
She could avoid all that suffering just if she took it back, but she hasn't.
Because if you're willing to go that far for somebody, it doesn't change that they committed like the crime, but you're giving a chance that maybe that they deserve some form of redemption.
Hmm.
The fact that like that she was willing at all to pardon like his crimes with whatever these trials may concluded, that just means that like she's being like very generous about it. I mean, she could have just denied any form of getting him back. She could have just said no, but she allowed it.
And she also could have brought him back.
She could, but there is no reason to.
It's just there's nobody holding there's nobody even holding her properly accountable. She can't be held accountable if she made an overstep or made a mistake. How can we be sure that she won't overstep? That this is an overstep, and even if this is for some reason wouldn't be, how do you keep a power like that in check?
It is not up to us to keep her in check.
Then who? I know
Only our
I know I'm trying to find a way to bring justice about by whatever means. That's why I made myself a judge, because people who are more powerful than others keep on getting away with hurting those weaker. Everyone, regardless of power, should be held accountable. And she can't be.
and I'm sure that like whatever powers that she, you know, what in however form that she decides to use that power, I am sure that it is for a good reason. It's not like she's not trying to be someone who, you know, abuses that power.
I
It was
can't
used
be.
when it was necessary for it to be used.
Hmm.
You may not agree with it because after all, we are supposed to be the judges, but we can only judge the things within, you know, our power.
Hmm. Within our power.
Yes. You know, us humans judge other humans for the things that they do, and sometimes things that they do just need someone of a higher power.
I maybe one day it will be within our power.
I can certainly hope that never could happens to any of us.
Hmm. We may disagree on this, but we're both trying to find the we're both trying to do the right thing. That is something that even though I can't trust most people, I know I can always trust you to do what you believe is right. I've had so many people betray me, try to kill me, nearly kill me. Um, and people who act like they're better people than they are, and I only find out too late. But I you've always been consistent.
I would never betray you, Mom.
I know.
It's just too just it's just I think it's just being finding it's just I do feel like you really want to have a control over everything sometimes. And I just don't think that's, you know, possible. Which is like I understand that you know we both wish for the best, but there's just you know sometimes it's just not we can only do so much,
Mhm.
and that's okay, you know.
I mean,
That is okay.
it's not okay with me. It's it's how I just I've barely I'm barely even made it here. Like there have been so many times where I've nearly just died just cuz I was too weak to protect myself. Oftentimes too weak to protect you or others. How maybe things are fine now, but you never know what's going to happen.
That may be true, but that's why but you know I mean our duty as judges is to make sure we can set a precedent to make sure that you know people don't go around doing that.
I mean,
We
I've been grabbing more power and it's been very beneficial so far. Even some of the other things that I'm going to be doing is trying to follow up with some of these trials to ensure that like people get their fair share of things.
do you not believe that these trials are going to be fair?
Well, less of the trials being fair, but what happens outside of here. I mean, how do you ensure that verdicts are going to be enforced? Unless they're enforced in court, but not all verdicts can be enforced in court. You need something.
Maybe hmm. I mean, maybe we can like follow up on them the next time. We can ask.
Well, I already have some stuff I will be doing. There's already some things I plan on doing outside of court to follow up on a couple of cases. But yes, we can always follow up certain things in future sessions.
Do you mind telling me how you plan on doing? Like, what are your ideas so far?
Well, one thing, in the there was one instance in which with the trial for Kangaroo Eater where you set initial like verdict for something for the thing that they did, and they ended up fleeing the courtroom and then was brought back and basically burned alive, which at the time it was just very chaotic of what was going on, but it seemed harsher than like it seemed way harsher than the initial sentence.
I do agree that that one did get out of hand.
Which is why I plan on trying to make up the difference for the discrepancy for what you believed was the right path and what the people decided they were going to take upon themselves. It's not like we can necessarily charge people just because I don't fully remember who did what. And I don't think that they would necessarily call themselves out.
That is true. Perhaps we can have a guardian of some sort,
Hey, what?
like a guardian of some sort, maybe.
Guardian. Yeah, that would probably be very useful. I have um one of the warriors, Lava, who's strong, and also if I ask him to do something, he has usually followed through.
I mean, are you sure that he can be trusted?
He's been mostly trustworthy thus far.
Well, if you say so.
If he proves to be otherwise, I've been able to go toe to toe with him before. He is very strong, but I have ideas in mind just in case. Um,
Okay, I believe you.
Additionally, one of the other cases involving Firewolf, he ended up getting bread, or not, he wanted bread as compensation for Solar causing shenanigans. But, Solar settled for a lot of grass instead. And the grass can be turned into seeds, but it takes more work turning that into bread, so I was going to provide assistance in setting up farms and stuff for making that a more clear system. So that he still ends up getting the bread, just so he doesn't have to sit on a bunch of grass in his double chests. It was a lot of grass.
Oh no, yeah, that was the fella. Who goes around with that much grass on them?
I she works unlike most beings that I know. She exploded into a pinata of grass and then came back a minute later like nothing had happened. And I think that happened twice. That happened twice during the session. So she's on a different she lives by her own set of rules, it seems.
Ah,
uh
okay, I see.
I she doesn't even seem to she's not even fully mortal. She misunderstands a lot of stuff about the way that about the way that people work. So
Yeah,
I don't
that's
think
fair.
that she seems to think grass is more useful than it is.
I mean, if you can get seeds out of it, I mean, technically,
I
it's
mean, it is useful, it just isn't as immediately useful as most other things.
Yeah. Maybe we can help her like get this, set up, help her with that. Maybe
Yeah,
to just get the seeds out of them first.
yeah, like, one thing that I was thinking that could help forgive a lot of the things that Solar was causing during the session is we could have her provide assistance on creating said farm,
Yeah, of course, of course.
potentially. There weren't
Yeah,
as
I agree.
many in terms of the things that mortals did during these trials. Things were not as severe as they had been in the past. I mean, nothing. I don't think anything was as severe as, like, we have Irony Tempest and Huntress's, like, ongoing rivalries, pet napping, pet ransoming, I think. Then we also have Drascaro's mass murder of axolotls, which was something else.
See, that just proves you're doing a good job.
See? Yes, no, exactly. I mean, in terms of the mortals, the court cases are way less severe. Then again, Irony, Tempest, and Huntress were here this time, so maybe they were committing unknown atrocities.
Well, hopefully somebody will uncover them, and we can, the ones that we are not aware of, and we can like judge them again.
Judge them again, maybe pointing a bow and arrow at their face if they try to leave. No, no, I would let justice. I would let justice carry out. It's just
Maybe
there were at least two instances, I think, of somebody. Well, I think one instance of somebody messing with somebody's cat. Another instance of somebody messing with another person's villager. Uh, I'd have to review the court documents again for that. I think out of the full, like, just mortal stuff, that was the most concerning. I'd say that would be Dove Princess's trial when it came to the trees. Where
uh-huh.
she was suing everybody for cutting down trees, and that was definitely an overreach. Because
Honestly, I
how
found it.
hmm?
I found it heretical that even Herobrine showed up.
I have never seen Herobrine before. I didn't even know that's what he looked like.
He's
And
not somebody to be messed with.
from all the stories that I've heard, why now? It's very
Well, they did say
strange.
that that they were suing everyone.
You know what? That's fair, but, like, I feel like these courtrooms seem to be very interesting in what we're able to uncover. Because both Hero Brian and Serverchan showed up. And that's something that had basically seemed to be impossible in most cases.
I mean, I can only assume that if they're showing up now, then something big is going to happen sometime soon.
Hmm. You might be right about that. What if something like that happens? For your sake, and for mine, you may want to stay far away from it. As
I,
much as I don't as much as I don't trust Server Chen, she has been keeping you alive, so if something happens to her, then you might not come back. Not unless whatever replaces it decides to bring you back. But we can't know for certain.
but you do understand that if something does happen, I must be there to make sure that Survey-chan doesn't fall, right?
Hmm. I see.
It's not just her, defending me in her ways, but it's also I too defending her in the ways that I can.
Hmm. I see. Well, anyways, I believe that was all that I wanted to really discuss with you. I'll be working on fulfilling these post-trial actions as much as I'm able to. I need to track down Kangaroo's house or Kangaroo Eater's house to give them some stuff for the making up for the miscarriage of justice. Just
Yeah, of
to
course.
follow up on that. Quite a few things that have happened that I'll need to follow up on.
Yeah, just don't do anything foolish while you're going up about it.
I'll I'll look out. Uh, I tend to be. I tend to do a good job at looking out for myself. Well, I've gotten better at it than I used to. That's for certain. I'll be safe. I'll be very cautious.
Of course.
I'll keep my armor on around other people. For one.
I mean, if you want me as a bodyguard, I'm just saying, like, I'm also here.
I'll consider it. I need to follow up with Dove on a couple things involving the trees, because I don't think that she fully understands it. She
Oh,
seemed
absolutely.
she seemed off. I don't know what her baseline is, but she seemed a little off. And I need to make sure that she's not going to cause anything drastic from happening. Stop it in its tracks. Maybe we can, like... I feel like there's definitely some things to be said about making, like, nature conservation zones if she doesn't want trees to be harmed.
Yeah, of
There's
course,
definitely
of
a better
course.
way of going about it than suing everybody for something that nobody knew she had an issue with.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
But I'll let you know if I would like you to join me for any of the follow-up. Maybe for the Firewolf one, just because that one's like just building uh hands on deck stuff. where I mean, there's less likely stuff that's going to go there's definitely less stuff that's gonna go wrong. Um but Solar might show up. Solar might be there. She might be I mean, she hasn't been directly like actually no, sometimes she's been directly harmful, but I don't think she realizes. I think that's just part of the thing of she's not mortal and she doesn't realize that like what's going to hurt a mortal because she lives by her own rules. But it's still not fair for the people that get just terrorized in the process.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I got a lot of trees where I live, so like, I mean, maybe I can like spare some saplings.
Ooh.
And in the case of firewolf, then I don't know, maybe we can like have like a wall, maybe some more torches. Maybe make a wall out of water.
Ooh. That sounds cool.
Yeah. But if it works, it works. And I'm always here to help you.
I appreciate it. Have always been you have always been very reliable. And you've always been a good son.
Thank you.
I appreciate in a world full of people with different motives and in a world full of people who have figuratively and literally stabbed me in the back, I always appreciate being able to have somebody like you.
You're
Anyways,
welcome, Mother.
yeah. Anyways, I will now set off on my mission.
Be
Or
free,
several
Mother.
missions.
The people need you.
Certainly.
Away.